Impact fam, welcome to the Impact Zone episode 5. My name is Jeff, and alongside me, as always, is what do I got here? We got the New Japan to my AEW. It's Max, everybody. What's going on, buddy?
I'm impressed you at least made yourself AEW. I know that would hurt.
I wasn't you. Oh, I did say it backwards.
I'm the New Japan to your AEW. I know this is
no pro wrestling. It's on my mind because you know what we're talking about today. I want to get Max's opinion really quick on the Slammiversary that was, so then we can move on. You guys can see the depth charts are empty. This is our one-stop shop for free agency depth charts and everything in between. We'll talk about the top 25. We haven't updated it because obviously, as we just mentioned, some things can change tonight with AEW having their crossover show. But the depth charts are open because we want to take a look at it. We feel like this is the new era of Impact Wrestling, post-Slammiversary and on. We want to see what we have in-house without New Japan's help, and kind of talk in between there because there is breaking news that we want to get to, especially with Lady Frost. So Max, let me hear it. Slammiversary thoughts.
I mean, I thought it was amazing. I think Impact continues to put out great pay-per-views. It wasn't as good as last Slammiversary, but that's only because we were actually at last Slammiversary. So there were no shots of us in the crowd.
Right.
So I think that just brings it down maybe just like half a star for me. But no, it was great. We got a Shark Boy sighting. We saw Bullet Club lose a title, but gain two. Do tag team titles count as two titles?
Yeah, right.
So Bullet Club lost one title, gained two titles, so I'm okay with that. I think Josh Alexander has proven that I don't want to say he's the face, but if you look at he's Austin or Rock or Triple H to Impact to what they were to WWE or WWF at the time. Like He is clearly a face of Impact who you can basically build an entire company around, and even when he's not champion, he's going to have a prominent role doing something. He was absolutely amazing. I got to see some AJ Styles. That was great. So no, overall, I thought it was an absolutely amazing event that really did a lot to showcase what Impact is, and the reason why Impact fans like Impact. Slammiversary was a perfect representation of that. So.
Yeah, I agree, man. We've between this and talking points and the show prior, I kind of got my feelings out, but I agree with you, man. I just it hit the sweet spot for a lot. I know there were some people that felt left out, but I think at the same time, it's just you're taking 20 years and saying, okay, we got 3 hours. Let's get in as much past, present, and future that we can in this one show. It's just so much to do, man.
This isn't WrestleMania that's 2 days, days like 8 hours long. I was a little disappointed there was no Curry Man. He was my pick to win the Reverse Battle Royal, but a little sad there.
Oh man. Well, we had a good transition there. We talked about Josh Alexander. You did, and I agree with you, man. I think he is now the man, and we've talked about it extensively, and especially with 88 minutes of television on Impact. You gotta have that Attitude Era-like feel because before SmackDown, there was just Raw, and you had 4 to 5 competitors for always the Triple H, or maybe not before that. Let's go Rock, Austin, Taker, and then you throw in Triple H, Kane, Foley, kind of whatever.
I mean, even Triple H, like when he was a little lower, it was like him and The Rock were low, but those were kind of lower, and then you had occasional guys come in.
Right, and that's what we want to get to. So let's keep in the heavyweight division here because there's obviously, and bear with me, I'm trying to find out get this all working.
Trying to get the roster.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that, and there we go. All right, let's stay with the World Heavyweight title here, and we'll integrate all the topics that we want to get to as we get to them, but we'll stay in our sweet spot of 25, 30 minutes. So Josh Alexander's obviously number one. He's got Doring coming up against all odds, but that's more of a 2-week quick show, shoot program.
Yeah, and it just kind of continues the story of him because he faced Diener on this Impact this week. So it's kind of just the continuation of him running through VBD.
Yeah. So let's not kind of hang with VBD. Obviously, Eric Young is going to be, maybe come back at a certain point here. But let's look at it in a sense of who is in that main event picture for you. First comes to mind, who could be there?
I'm I'm gonna go with Ace Austin.
Oh,
Lost the X Division title, so I think that sets him up perfectly to move forward
okay.
for a heavyweight title shot. The dude shined at Best of Super Juniors and showed he's a future star. I think Moose is obviously in there.
Yeah, man. Hard to not put both monster ball guys in there if that's where you're headed.
I would say Sammy is the next one I was going to put in. I think you always have to have Eddie in the picture.
Okay.
Like, he's someone who can always go in there and step right in and be a contender.
He's kind of like the Kane of it, right? Not in the sense of any other comparison to their physique or their character, or anything like that. But that fifth guy that can always take a spot, can always put the title on if you need to. He's a viable character and option. So I agree with you there. The one I want to mention, because we are going to be talking about maybe ROH exit, Honor No More and stuff, and ROH coming back up through Tony. Obviously, you, despite this clusterfuck of us saying we're both AEW. You are the AEW guy out of the two. You watch it. You know what's actually going on tonight and beyond. So we won't get too far into the Briscoes until we get to the tag one, but I think it's pretty apparent that Mark was the one that was written off. He was the one that's... He's obviously having a kid. I want your opinion on that. But also, does that mean, and we talked about this before, I think even before we had this show, when we were on the TNAW podcast, that Jay versus Josh is a money match that we wouldn't mind seeing on a pay-per-view.
I definitely think that that's a possibility. I know one of the Briscoes, I'm thinking it was Mark's wife, had a kid.
Yeah, yes, number 7.
Yes, it was. He was the one that was written off. Right. Would be a little weird if it was Jay's. They're like, hey, Mark, go watch my newborn son. So, but yeah, I think Jay is definitely someone who can easily step in there and can go and would be an immediate, legitimate contender. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I think there's a number of 5 there. I would love to see Ace be pushed up. It would have made sense to cash in. He's going kind of off that New Japan route of still finalizing that feud with Alex Zane this coming week. So does that elevate him to the next thing? I don't know. I don't know how he gets there to the World Championship, but once again, against all odds, is a hotshot 2-week program. Let's see what happens after that.
Yeah.
Let's move down if I'm. Nope. Actually, that works out. Let's go to the tag division because we already talked about the Briscoes. Give me your thoughts on that. Besides do you think that's all it is? Do you think it's just the timing of it all is just coincidence in the sense of ROH coming back into the fold?
I mean, I think obviously when your wife's having a kid that you're going to take some time off there. Sure. I also am pretty sure they're chicken farmers. Right. And if I had to guess, that's probably where their main source of income comes from. So I think writing it, because they wrote only one of them off, right, it makes me think that unless Jay just vanishes too, that it's something to do with, hey man, take some time. Yeah. So if they would have written them both off, then I'd be like, oh crap, we're losing them. But I don't think that's the case. And realistically, I don't know if they're going to go to ROH because Warner or whoever it is still doesn't like them. Yeah. So. Well,
you know what, I want to take it from a more positive perspective as well. Yeah, the Warner thing is a thing. Obviously, they have their hands full with Amber Heard and Ezra Miller and all that crap going on with the DC universe. So why take another chance on just someone who may pop a third show they have of wrestling, more or less. It is their home. Mike Bennett talked about that as well. But to me, it just, I don't know if I'm being biased or not, and I'll get to the positive in a second. But it's no longer the same home. It's maybe the same foundation, or maybe the same structure, but not the same foundation, or the people holding up the building either. So I think that plays into it. But I think the positive of this is as well is, look, they dropped the belts for him. They made it easy to take it off of him. They made it easy to write him out of a storyline. He obviously did have his 7th child. Congratulations on that. If they're giving them time to do this and still bringing Jay into the fold, they're taking care of the Briscoes, and I would like to think the Briscoes see that as well. It's not just they're letting us go. I think...
No, I definitely agree with that, and I do agree with you that it's not the same. Like, obviously, Impact isn't owned by the same people who owned TNA. Right. But TNA/Impact continuously ran. Yeah. So it kind of went from ownership to ownership. It was a continuous thing. ROH was shut down and is now going to come back as something completely new.
With-
It's like if you and I started up ECW, no one's gonna be like, "That was my home, baby. Let's go."
Right.
Like,
Well,
these two
well, that's
dudes.
what I want to mention as well. Is just because the name is your home, the staff is different. The creative's different. Impact has always had this. I mean, look, Scott D'Amore was on episode, well, not one, but pretty. I think he might have been on the first show actually, but he was pretty damn close. And the fact that he's, throughout it's the same players, Gales and management. It's not like someone bought it, but they're taking away the home feeling of Impact. I don't know.
Correct. No, I agree completely. It's not WWECW, which is basically what ROH is going to be. Like, that wasn't the same ECW, no matter...
As ROH Day Oneer, man, I hope it's not. I want the legacy to live on, but it's hard to think it's going to be anything else. And that's why I'm not fearful of it coming back or whatever it may be. But let's stick to the Briscoes. So you think it's a lock that we could keep them in the tag division then?
I would probably say pull them out for now.
Okay.
Just because...
Just to see?
And just see how long, Mark. But I think they'll be back. But if we're talking about right now, the teams you could see, I think you'll probably maybe a pay-per-view off. So maybe after their next actual pay-per-view, you'll see them. Yeah,
I could see them coming emergences in July, but maybe August re-emerging somewhere down there. Okay, so let's take them off the table. We got the Good Brothers. They're not really in a program right now, besides with Honor No More, but we can consider the OGK, the Kingdom. I think
definitely think. You can consider them.
I think they're a front runner there.
BBD has to be considered
still
former tag champs. Yeah, and they're still a force.
Okay.
Decay is always an option.
Yeah, man, I really liked what they do with these. I know we mentioned about, in New Japan they do it as well, where everyone's in a faction, everyone has something, everyone has, and I like this because Decay, maybe they're not always, maybe they're on BTI right now, Rosemary and Ty are doing their thing, but they're always, when they come out, they feel like a unit, they sound, you know what I mean, like they still portray everybody as a viable option. Okay, so we got 3 there.
Major players are similar to Briscoes, to where I think they'll be in there, but I think, they'll be a little bit further down. Motor City Machine Guns.
That's true.
Are listed on the site. I'm looking at the site now. They're an option, I think.
Okay.
Who else we got?
Yeah, let me try to look.
Well,
and then you got the fringe teams. You got the Swinger and the Dice Man.
I'm trying not to list them. I think.
Ace and Bay is something interesting. I mean, obviously they're still in the Bullet Club, but
I think that's a possibility. But I think we have to kind of wait to see.
Right.
I really think Ace is going to go, if not after the world title, possibly the DMC title is kind
him
of
versus Rich,
the
man.
next move. Yeah, and then Bay gets to move into the X division. That's what I hope happens. But we'll discuss that.
Bay is this Thursday getting an opportunity at #1 contender for.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that's where that, because I think that's a good 4 #1 contenders for the tag team championship. I mean,
we're obviously missing the Briscoes. We're missing obvious ones that was Swinger, and we know they exist. But
they're not real contenders right now. So
okay, so let's see where the world takes. Let's go to the next one, which is it looks like knockouts. Perfect. Okay, so obviously Lady Frost is something I talked about earlier. It's something we mentioned that we were going to talk about. Let's start there. Your opinion on one, her asking for her release, and then /2, I don't want to diminish her role or her potential, because we know we're over on her. We think she's great. But is it really at this point, when they're bringing so many people in, a deterrent or a negative?
I mean, I think it's a loss, because there was potential there for her to be amazing character-wise. But she wasn't really at the top of the card. This isn't losing Deanna or Jordan. This is someone who I think I said on Reddit, was 3-10 in her 13 matches on Impact. I mean, her leaving, I read somewhere that she wasn't happy with her booking. I don't know if that's true. If that's the case, I mean, she had 3 title shots. Not everybody can be Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be the Brooklyn Brawler. And
for a bit, at least.
Yeah. And you're kind of running through programs, and to me, like, they're kind of running through some stuff. So I mean, I think it's a loss. I think, if anything, I think it's more of a loss in the potential knockouts tag division
yeah.
than I would say in the singles.
Conveniently, she was mentioned in that division on air too. Lish mentioned her.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think with her, it's for me, taking a step back, I would say, look, and I talked to this extensively. This is something new coming to my mind. It's just I signed with a certain Impact, an Impact where I was Ultimate X. I was going to sign. I was going to do big things. I don't know if the procedure had anything to do with it. But either way, she was, booked as a new person coming into a company, but would have got her shine. She had the graphics, she all that. But the Impact she's coming back to after this little lull of being away is a stacked damn Impact when it comes to the knockouts and knockouts tag, which we'll talk about in a second, at least in my eyes. So let's continue that, though. Jordan Grace, you mentioned, is a mainstay. Deanna, you mentioned as well. So you got to put Deanna there as well. Tasha's getting her rematch.
Yeah. I think even if she doesn't win, I think she's still up there.
Yeah.
Chelsea Green is someone who is definitely a contender.
Yeah, the thing with Chelsea, man, it seems that they're hinting at the tag division, which is what we've been hoping for.
I definitely think they could, but I think it's a potential or a possibility of these women, even being in tag teams, kind of shifting back and forth.
Yeah.
I think that could be a potential
That's
thing.
Fair.
And then you also have, although they are the tag team champions, when they fall off,
right,
you've got Ty and Rosemary as
fair.
Two people who, not right now, but as...
Well, let's look at it as of a right now, because we niched out the major players. We niched out the Briscoes.
Oh, no, I'm just... Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying,
general.
But they're those people similar in that role where you have them on the back end. So
let's go. Let's take away Deanna and Green just for shits and gigs.
Okay.
Let's look at it as Tasha's the next one up, is getting her chance here, her rematch. You gotta feel Mia.
Mia's definitely in there.
In there. We'll put Yim because that's her last name. There we go.
Masha at some point.
There you go. See, that's another person who's building her way up and doing it singly. Like there's no crossover potential right this moment. So we'll put Slamm-Depth on there as well. I don't know. Mickey, is Mickey looking to tag? Is she trying to get that first tag team championship? I don't know if she's just kind of in and out. Looks like the NWA partnership's pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I think she could be. I don't really know. I think right now, until you kind of see how some things break and who goes for titles. I mean, Havoc is a possibility if you need a contender, because obviously Rosemary's.
Yeah, I think
so.
Havoc's gonna make an appearance with returning Sue or someone else. She's not gonna be happy that that Rosemary went with somebody else. I just can't see that in her storyline. But we'll see. So say we stay with that. Steels, Yim, Slamovic. Obviously, you can once again double up. There's people like Giselle who doesn't have a partner yet. But there's also people like you mentioned, Havoc, who doesn't have a partner yet. So
yeah, there's some possibilities there for people who, if they aren't in the tag title picture, could easily move over. We'll see.
All right, so let's put them there because they're not a tag team yet, and hopefully, if the wrestling gods help me out here, this will go to Knockouts tag, and it does. All right, so we have right now, as we mentioned, Team Ragnarok, Rosemary and Taya. I honestly believe, once again, we have to base it off what we know now, because maybe she does come back with somebody as a tag team partner or whatever. But looking at it right now, I don't know. Are they setting up for a? Well, obviously they're saying if Giselle can do this, she can team with the Influence. Out of just sheer respect and the fact that they are an official tag team, I think the Influence has to be first, though.
Yes, they definitely have to be first.
They've earned it, man. They've earned it. But now this is where it gets fun.
So obviously you have Giselle and
whoever
her future partner.
Right.
I think that's an option. I don't know if we want to put her on.
Wait.
I definitely think that Chelsea and Deanna
I agree.
are coming. You have the ability to go back with Tasha and
Savannah.
Evans.
They've done a great job of keeping Savannah, even though not a main front person, still the muscle, but still always lose. Well, it doesn't always lose, but still takes the pins and stuff, and still looks like waiting for her to get unleashed. So I'm pretty, excited about that. I can't see for shit. There we go. Did I do it right? Yeah, there we go. Steals Evans. There we go. Okay.
I kind of feel like that's where it is. I think you could see some things with Havoc and possibly Sue. You obviously could see some things with maybe Alish picks up a partner.
Right.
Who knows? But I think that's kind of where we are now. Obviously, if things get real dire, can always go with Eric Young and ODB coming back into the picture.
And that's how he reemerges, him and ODB.
Yeah.
Not only could they bring in someone new? Sure. But going back to the Lady Frost thing, like, yes, we're using Deanna and Green again, but we're also leaving it a question mark for Giselle, who's inevitably going to find a partner. We're leaving it a question mark for Havoc, who's inevitably going to reform or
do something.
Right. And the same with Lish. I think Lish could be a great mainstay here, but and I love Madison's work. Tennille, obviously, I'm a fan of her coming in and what she's done and carved her niche since coming here. But on singles, were they really at this point in both of their careers gonna make ruffle up the knockouts division, especially with all these new people? No. So it's okay to have some people who are mainstays of this knockout tag and make it a division. They will be in the records for making it, a division. So, I don't think there's any shame in that, but I think we're slowly making real tag teams while having kind of mixed tag teams to fill in the gaps here. So.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Next up is let's see where the world takes us. Oh, I can't see where that...
That took us nowhere.
Hey, there we go. DMC. There, we're on the DMC. All right, we're getting to our last two here. Once again, guys, thank you for tuning in. Next week, we'll have a little bit more on the free agency side. Hopefully have the top 25 free agents updated and some, hopefully, changes based on what happens within the week of wrestling. So we'll see. But let's go to the DMC. I think this is one that it really doesn't have its own division, carved out, because, once again, we're passing it lineage to lineage, yes, making that lineage go, passing it star to star, rather. But we don't know where Swan's going from here with it.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's rough because you look at guys like Ace Austin, who I definitely think if
not world
could go for the world or could go for the DMC. I think you have guys like Brian Myers could show back up here until Cardona's there. It's a weird spot because they haven't really, like you said, they haven't really carved out what the DMC title is yet. But I do think if you're looking at someone, I don't know. I think Macklin is probably your number one guy on there. That this is his next stop.
Now he does have a number one contendership match this Thursday. But once again, I just feel like Macklin, it would be a DMC stop and having a good run with that and then going to World just seems like if they want this belt to be what we think they want this belt to be, you kind of need to go that way compared to through the X Division for me, at least. Yeah,
and I agree. I think that, I don't think X Division is it for him. When they didn't have the DMC title, I liked him going for the X Division as the Joe thing. But now that they have this, I feel like this is the way for him to go and kind of build up his character for that. I'm trying to look through who else they could use.
I mean, it's hard because right now, as we said, there is no almost main event guys.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
You could throw the main event guys into the picture to keep that lineage going, to keep that momentum going with this title for name value purposes. But once again, you're not doing it any justice by making it a World Expo
Vincent might not be a bad option. Vincent or someone like Vincent or Kenny King.
Yeah, like someone who's
Kenny King fits into the X Division really well. I think the
PCO?
PCO possibly. I think any of those.
Okay, so we'll put a H&M stop there because we have.
I think any of those guys, Honor No More guys, could make a run at this and kind of hold it as a title, especially if you have like
Eddie
possibly doing it or something that I think that would be good.
I actually like Eddie better here than a mainstay in the world because Eddie doesn't need the belt anymore. He's someone you put the belt on when you need him a gap stop. Tired. All right, so we got H&M there. Maybe once again we're taking people from the main event scene, but this is if it is what we envision, it's almost main event scene. So Bay is someone, if he doesn't stick with the X division, is someone who can move up and
possibly, yeah.
So I think there's a lot of ways to go with this, but I think right now, because of the New Japan thing, I don't think it's sorely missed, but to have deep divisions, not to have those, this is where we're feeling the effects.
Yeah. And I think we'll see, obviously, the New Japan thing come back around.
For sure.
You've got 4 members of Bullet Club in Impact.
Yeah.
And Carl Anderson is the never openweight champion.
Right.
So clearly they're not just going to have him mail that belt back. Yeah, so I just think they're doing their thing right now. Probably going to do some lines with AEW. And then once they kind of see where those are going to play out, then they'll bring it. They'll be like, okay, these are the guys that aren't involved. So I think you'll definitely see it. But I do think the digital media champion, if they could get him to travel, at least if anything, to New Japan Strong would be interesting.
Yeah.
To defend it there. So.
Yeah, that would be great. Let's move on to the X Division. We talked about the 4 right now, 2 of them being 2 people we mentioned for the DMC. But let's stick with maybe, so we would say that Ace kind of graduated. I don't know if you want to say that.
I agree. I think Ace is past
He did his 3 terms. He's graduated onto the next thing. Trey is someone who's a mainstay right now of that division. I think he does move up to that tag division soon. I think we could see a little Rascal, maybe not reunion, but new creation. So that's possible as well. He's bringing back the wave. But let's put Trey here.
I think Trey for now, yeah. I think Bay has to be
there. If he's not DMC, he's here.
Yeah, I think his X division. He needs a good solid run.
He needs that Ace-like run.
Yeah, now with where he is, because I think he's definitely evolved from where he was before. So I think you kind of give it to him and kind of say, hey, now's your chance to take it.
Yeah. By the way, Speedball Mick Bailey, all these are new matchups for the most part. I mean, we've seen him with Trey individually and stuff like that, but to have him defending this title, I think it's going to put this belt the lineage is good. It's in good hands.
I mean, Laredo Kid's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, he's always challenging for it. He's always picking up wins.
I mean, these number 1 contenders don't have to necessarily be guys we think are going to win it.
Right.
It just has to be a credible
option for depth.
Right. Yeah.
Who are they working this month? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we mentioned Kenny King for this. We've mentioned.
I think Kenny King is the most likely one out of that group if he wants to.
Yeah. And then obviously there are people that can always cross and try to do this style as well. Like we have already mentioned, Macklin's already going for it Thursday again. Moose has mentioned wanting to do it. There's people. That'd be interesting, man.
Black Taurus can do it.
Black Taurus definitely can do it, man. We see. Oh, hey, you might not have. Were you there when his horn popped off a day after Slammiversary? No, you only went to Slammiversary.
I did not. I watched. I mean, I saw the episode. Right. But I actually watched the match.
Man, what a match! Yeah, no, he could definitely go, and I'm glad he's here. It looks for the long haul. I don't know what that is, but.
And with the DMC, we didn't even mention any knockouts because we obviously know Jordan. If she is no longer. Can go there. Taya could potentially
That's a very good point, man. Taya, you got your Deanna, you got some names that can really Jordan back in the picture. Some names that can come and have some bangers and do that. Yeah, man. I think either way, right now where we're at, and we'll wrap this up, unfortunately, but where we're at right now is that we might be taking from different divisions, but with an 88-minute show, is it really feel thin? Not really. If we expand or if we want to deepen these even more or kind of just say, hey, this is you and you're in this division, then yes, we need some more. But I don't know, man. How do you, looking at this now, and we'll end off on that, with the talk of the New Japan exit, which obviously is just it seems to be the meantime, ROH possibly being up. We obviously need some people. We'll talk about that next time because the top 25 will be updated. But how do you feel? What's your general after Slammiversary thought?
I mean, I think they're in a good spot. They definitely have people that can go into each division. I don't think there's going to be a couple division where you may need to pull some people from in order to get it like fully full. But like you said, it's 88 minutes. You don't need 3 different tag team feuds going on all at one time.
Right.
You can have a tag team and then their number one contender and then the other guys can be doing something. So I mean there's stuff to be done with everybody, and there's not a situation where you're like, man, the only matchup they have is, John Cena versus Randy Orton of 9,500.
Right.
Like, there's none of that going on to where you're like, we only have one contender, and this is all we're going to see for the next 2 months. So I think everything has some depth and has some matchups that they can go to before they really have to be like, all right, guys, what do we do now?
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, and I'm right there with you. Of course, I would like to see a couple names pop in, especially since we're losing some, X Division guys in El Phantasmo and all these kind of, some really cool people. Jay White, obviously, huh?
Is James Storm is back?
That's true. We didn't even talk about James Storm. How long is that for? Is it just for a little run while we're in Nashville? Either way, man, it's pretty cool, man, to hear that music and see that. And that's the thing is if we're keeping in-house, having some names like that come back to fill the gap is even more exciting. So,
and also you mentioned the NWA partnership seems to be strong. So maybe
MLW as well.
Maybe Nikki James comes in and does
hey man,
a little bit of fun. I mean, maybe you get State comes back in. Maybe Davey Richard comes.
Well,
comes.
With MLW and NWA bridges seemingly fine and accessible, I think there's possibility for that. I think it's something we could talk about next week and go on and on and on for. But I would not be against Nikki. I'll actually give him I will not be against Nick Aldis coming in, man. He said the right things at Slammiversary. He looked good, and I was actually happy to see him on my screen. I will admit. But with that being said, I'm going to go wash out my tongue. And we'll see you guys next time for episode 6 of the Impact Zone. Look out for some more exciting news coming from us. And if you want to help us with the top 25 free agents, let us know. Write us, give us your list of 25, and help us get that thing updated. So hope you guys enjoyed. For Max and myself, bye, everybody.
Later, guys.
Bye.